Welcome to 40 Below Zero, an international podcast about life with invisible illnesses, hosted by two guys living with multiple sclerosis. Coming to you from the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, I'm your co-host Nix, and with me on this ride is Terry, a Londoner who calls Ontario home. We're so happy you're here with us as we continue to try and normalize a life that is anything but. So let's get into it. What's up, Warriors? Welcome back to the show. Terry, my friend, how are you?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Other than the fact that I fell the other day in a washroom and scratched my nose, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I didn't hurt myself at all. It was just a thing in the wall that was sticking out. Long story, but when I went against the wall, it just scratched my nose. My nose was the bumper stopper. You know what I mean? It stopped it before it went into my eye. Anyway, bro, what's going on with
Wait,
you?
wait
Who
a
do we
minute.
have today?
Hang on. You're going to just bypass over the fact that you took a fall, and then you're going to ask me how I'm doing?
I'm fine, man. I slipped. I didn't fall. I just lost my balance and I just kind
Okay.
of went into the wall. I'm okay. Everything is
All
okay.
right.
I just didn't want you to freak out over the cut on my nose.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Thanks,
Me,
man.
I'm doing great, other than the fact that the great pollinating has begun. So now I can't breathe right because everything seems to be against me now when I step outside. And I probably won't be able to breathe correctly until somewhere around July, because
Did
that's
you
typically how
always
it
have
goes.
hay fever?
No, as I get older, it seems to be
Okay.
getting worse. But that's the topic for another show.
Sounds good.
This week,
Yeah.
we have a very special guest who's joining me actually on in my studio today. And it is a very personal story about an illness that we really haven't talked a whole lot about on this show. I mean, we've touched on it a few times, but we've never interviewed anybody with such, in my opinion, such a very deeply personal story as this. So I want to welcome to the show Trish. Trish, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing
Thanks for
good.
having me.
Oh,
Awesome.
please, it's been my pleasure.
Well, nice to meet you, Trish.
Nice to meet you.
Terry, Trish is going to talk to us about her story relating to COVID. And I know that, especially here, it for some reason, for some unknown reason, it was a very hot button issue. Like, it was very much, is it real? Is it not real? Does the vaccine work? Does the vaccine not work? It it just blew my mind that people could look at something and say, no, that can't be true.
Man,
I always thought it was true.
As did I.
me too.
I always thought it was true. I didn't realize the impact it would have after the illness.
Sure. And you even told me that you had a very specific type of it that I had never even thought was that big of an issue.
I had the Delta variant.
Okay. Yeah, the Delta variant. All
Yep.
right.
I think first was Omicron
Mm-hmm.
and then it
Hmm.
was the Delta.
I've heard of the Delta, and I heard that was the tougher one too.
Yeah. It was tough. My husband and I, my husband had it first. Um, he was misdiagnosed a few times. He went to urgent care.
Okay.
And they told him he had a sinus infection, which he got often. So
Okay.
it was it was nothing that I was surprised when he came home and said he had uh, a sinus infection. So they put him on antibiotics.
Okay.
He went a few more days. He wasn't getting any better. He went to Brandywine Hospital. They sent him home.
Jeez.
He laid in bed, and this is when I started to not feel great.
So he's prone to sinus things prior to this?
He was.
So how high was your meter on the I should be worried about this scale when he first said, "Oh, I'm going to go to urgent care"? Where you're like,
Zero.
so you were not concerned. You were like,
Not-
"Okay, we're going to same as it always was. We're going to
wasn't even COVID wasn't even on my radar
Okay.
because he always got sinus infections.
Yeah.
The first hospital sent him home after a couple days. My son said, all right, we're going to go to a different hospital. He ended up getting admitted right into ICU. I think it was the next day or a couple days later. I don't remember because I've lost time because I was sick and I didn't realize that I was sick. Like I wasn't feeling great. So I was just laying in my bed. I did not have any respiratory problems. I had no coughing. I just felt like crap.
Mm-hmm.
My son takes me to the hospital. I'm concerned about my husband because he's up in ICU.
Sure, naturally.
The woman looks at me and she says, you're very sick. And I was like, well, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't have time. She's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but you're going up to ICU also. So
Wow.
I went from the ER also right up to ICU. Again, no respiratory issues. Not like I did not feel like I was having any trouble breathing. Apparently my O2 sat was saying something completely different.
What was your O2 sat at?
Um, at one point it was in the 70s, and I only know this because when I was in the ICU, I was taking selfies
Wow.
and I have no recollection. I was in ICU for 13 days. 9 of those days.
What does it mean when you say 70? I'm sorry for those who don't understand it.
Between 75 and 100 is considered normal, but you want to be much closer to 100. Below 80, people start to get really worried.
So you were taking selfies at 70?
Yes. Apparently, and if you can ask my kids, I tell my girlfriend all the time, why didn't somebody take my phone away from me? I was sending out messages on Facebook and like texting my friends and making no sense.
Like fever dream kind of stuff.
And I was completely hypoxic.
Wow.
Like, what the hell was I? I don't even remember doing it. My kids have saved the messages that I sent. So I spent 13 days in ICU. In that time, my husband was put on a vent. I don't remember our last conversation. Apparently, we had a Zoom call. I don't remember that at all. When I was in the dying process. They told the kids, both your parents, we don't think are going to make it. My
Wow.
one son was in the Army. He had to come home. And the 2 other ones were at home. Yeah. I was definitely in the dying process because, you know, they say you see a light at the end of the tunnel. I saw the light. Like I was definitely in the tunnel. I call it in the tunnel.
Sure.
And it was blacker than black. There is no way to explain how dark this tunnel was. But at the end of the light, I saw a geometric, like you want to say diamond, and it was twirling.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard my grandmother say, take deep breaths. And I know it was my grandmother. Like beyond a shadow of a doubt, it was my grandmother. She said, take deep breaths. You need to take deep breaths. And I did, but I don't know how long it was from when I was in that tube until I woke up.
Sure.
I could have been like one of those instant, I was sucked back into my body kind of thing, or I don't know because I don't remember 9 days.
Wow.
It was
At
9
all.
days?
It was 9 days that I can't remember. 13
Yes,
days in
wow,
ICU
okay.
altogether.
And Terry, I can tell you that when we were talking, that when Trish and I were talking about coming on the show today, I had no idea there was going to be a near-death experience story as well. So holy moly.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to react to that. I love hearing that because I'm that type of guy with the lights and what you explained. I'm skeptical, but I want to be a believer of that so bad. So when I hear something like that, your
Oh,
story, I'm
it's
like, I
there.
love it. I love it. I love it.
That, in fact, I was born and raised Catholic. So, you know, you have this version of heaven. When you get there, you're going to see angels and streets paved in gold and harps and angels. My version of heaven, because I'm such an outdoor person, was always mountains and trees and birds. And I remember being in this tunnel and I'm looking around and I was like, where is the mountains? Where are the birds? Like I was convinced I was going to hell because it was so dark.
Yeah.
Like I was so upset by it. I went and saw a priest
Sure.
after everything happened,
Oh,
because I was convinced, like, oh my God, I'm going to hell. I'm an awful person. It was so
oh my
dark.
God. Yeah, yeah.
But after I got out and everything happened, I was explained that you're in the dying process, your body produces DMT. Um, and it's a
The reason why I
synthetic
laugh
drug
is
now.
because that's like another name for our drug modification therapies,
Oh,
drug modifying therapies. So that's why, anyway.
I think it's DMT,
Okay.
and it's they artificially make it, they synthetically make it, and it's like an acid trip. And you see geometric patterns and lights, and that is absolutely what I experienced. There is definitely a light at that tunnel. For
Yeah.
me, there was.
So when you got out of the 9 days, when you got out of it, was your family, your daughter next to you, like crying? How did you get out of
No,
it?
because in COVID, nobody was allowed in the
Mm,
hospital. I was
damn.
alone. I don't remember. I see the progression because I had my phone. At first, they had me on a nasal cannula. Then I was on high flow O2.
Mhm.
And I only know this because I have evidence of it. No, no
You
mental recollection at all.
you were like you remember you ever see the movie Memento? You were like mementoing yourself. It's you leave clues
Yeah,
for your life.
yeah. My husband and I were like texting each other, and I have no memory of doing
Wow.
any of this. I was sending cryptic messages to people, and I know nothing. This is how out of it I was. I know nothing electronic. I mean, I still give the remote to my kids. I'm typing things and they're not making sense. And in my head, I'm thinking, what the heck am I doing? I don't even know what QWERTY means. And I was convinced that somebody went in my phone and messed with the QWERTY. Literally, I still don't know what it means, but I can remember being in the hospital thinking somebody's messing with my phone because it was so jumbled. I guess I was
Yeah.
just so hypoxic. I didn't know what was going on.
Do you know what it is now?
I don't. Like, is it a QWERTY? It's something to do with the keyboard, right?
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. I just didn't know. I didn't want to sound silly either. But they call the arrangement of the keys QWERTY.
I have.
Am I right? Anyone?
Yes.
No?
Look
Okay.
at your
Okay.
keyboard. That's why it's called
Yeah,
QWERTY.
QWERTY.
We're sitting
Exactly.
here
Exactly.
laughing because my daughter is probably at
Yeah.
this point pulling up some of the messages that I was sending.
Yeah.
Did they take
We-
did she take the opportunity to ask for anything that she wouldn't otherwise ask for, like a new car or anything? She didn't.
Yeah, of course. That's what you get.
What did I ask for?
You asked her.
Someone's credit card information.
I asked for somebody's credit card information on
Like,
Facebook.
your credit card.
I have no idea
Uh,
what was going on. So anyway, I
Oh,
got out of
yeah.
the hospital. Unfortunately, my husband didn't. He passed. But I was sick afterwards, and I thought it was I had just spent 13 days in ICU.
sure.
You know, my husband died. So I went to my doctor.
And that's what they said too. Like it was like that nasal infection that started off as like, oh, I'm just gonna go get that taken care of, was actually something way worse.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it was back then. Nobody could really pin how anything was gonna go. Everybody was terrified all the time.
When
Yes.
my partner got COVID, every 30 minutes, every 20 minutes, because I knew how it just changes on a dime. You're doing well, and then all of a sudden you're just doing bad and you have to go to the hospital. So every 20 minutes I'd check up on her, and I knew that you needed to make sure
Yeah.
everything was staying consistent.
I never felt short of breath. Like, not once.
Wow.
My husband did. I can
Mhm.
remember him saying he has chest pains. He couldn't catch his breath. I never felt that way. But when I got out, I went to my doctor because, after you're hospitalized, your doctor wants to check up on you. And at first it was like, you've been through a lot, your body just needs to rest. Okay, well then a couple of weeks go by and I am still so tired. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, and when I tell you tired, I've never been through chemo, but they say it's that bone crushing tiredness. That's what it feels like. and I couldn't remember anything. I mean, you could tell me something 1 minute and it was gone 5 minutes later. It was like you never told me. Fortunately, my doctor was on the ball and recognized that there was such a thing as long COVID.
Oh,
And she's
good.
like, I really think you have long COVID. So down here, Terry, we have this very famous rehab, Bryn Mawr Rehab.
Yep.
Okay.
So she sent me to Bryn Mawr Rehab for a long COVID eval. Well, it ended up I went through cognitive therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, and occupational therapy. And mine was so bad, I couldn't even get through the testing. Like, I could not get through the testing. I went through the speech therapy and the cognitive therapy because they would give you 3 words. I could not remember 3 words in a row. You know, it would be like dog, cat, son. And then we would have a couple sentences between us. And then she would say, okay, what's the words I gave you? And I was like, did you give
Yeah.
me words? So that went on for months. And at this
Yeah.
point, I obviously was not able to do my job because my job, I would sit and look at Excel spreadsheets for 14 hours a day.
And not where were you working, but what were you doing?
I was a benefits coordinator.
Oh, geez.
So
That's all paperwork.
it's all Excel spreadsheets, keeping track of, everything. I lost my job.
They dropped you?
They dropped me.
What?
I was not able to do my job.
Did you please tell me you sued them?
I can't sue them.
Really?
Pennsylvania's an at-will
Well,
state.
yeah.
Yeah. But legitimately, they did me a favor because
Okay.
I didn't realize how bad my eyes were. So going back and forth with Bryn Mawr Rehab, I still could not get through the testing phase of the physical therapy part. They would have me try to walk in a straight line, and I was unable to do it. And it's like, you're a former cop.
Yeah.
It's like the drunk test. You hold your arms out, hit your
Yep.
nose. I'm like hitting my cheek on the other side. Then they would say,
Yeah, I still do that.
look up and walk a straight line. And I would be falling to the side. So they sent me to an ocular neurologist. They said, all right, something more significant is going on. So they sent me to an ocular neurologist. And the ocular neurologist said, oh yeah, it's definitely your eyes. My eyes and my brain are not working together. There's like a delay from what I'm taking in with my eyes to how my brain is processing it.
How long is that delay? Did they tell you? Because I took that delay test where you look at the red dot and they shift. Did you see that one?
Oh, where
The
they set you-
checkerboard?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm
I
less than
think-
a second, but enough that I'm so close they have to test it every 6 months to see if I should still keep my license.
I was 3 seconds off.
Ooh, okay.
Like I would
Wow,
see it.
okay.
I could see it, but it took my brain time to register to like hit it.
Yep.
I've had that test before, but I never knew what it was for, to be honest with you. But thanks for letting me know
Yeah,
now.
it's
I got a couple questions for you.
sure.
So, well, first of all, what year did this happen in?
2021.
Okay.
No, October of 2021.
So
Well,
when you
I got COVID October 21.
okay,
I was
when you
probably
lost your
December.
when you lost your job, did they know about what happened in your life?
Yes.
Including, I
No,
have no words.
I can't say anything bad because I was able to use some FMLA time to get to the therapies,
Mhm.
but I was not progressing and my eyes were not working with the computer. My eyes cannot track how they're supposed to track. And when you're looking at Excel spreadsheets all the time and you're in charge of entire companies' benefits,
Yeah.
like it's significant.
Sure.
I harbor no ill will. Like I completely understand. It's unfortunate for me. Their hands were tied.
Yeah, I get it. No, it's the same. It was the same story for me. As soon as because I worked for the county. As soon as the county found out that I was not going to be having a doctor that was going to clear me to go back, they were like, "Well, that's it."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Well, so 33, you're retired. So
Yeah.
yeah, it happens. I understand completely. It sucks, but I get it.
Yeah. I was 55 and now unemployed.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you probably went through a lot of what we go through is that your life has fallen off a cliff and now you got to figure out who you are and where you're going to go.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Oh
So
my
Like, to
God.
be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure it out because I lost my husband. I lost my job. I lost some of my independence. I lost who I was. I was always a very independent, self-assured, aggressive kind of personality. I am not that anymore.
who does that sound like, Terry?
Yeah.
Sounds like me and
This-
you, doesn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I used to be able to do
Mhm.
is gone. And I'm still trying to figure out what I can do, what I can't do. And I have the added factor of my husband was my best friend. Like,
Sure.
it was not just Trish, it was Trish and Ange, or Ange and Trish. We were definitely meant to be together. We had that great marriage. So not only did I lose my partner and the future we were planning, because just 2 months prior we went to Tennessee because that's where we were going to retire.
Mm.
You know, now I'm on my own. My backup system's gone. No job. One in college, one working. One 4 states away.
How, how I don't even know what to say right now. How do you react to those? I'm not going to call anyone names, but how do you react to those people who say COVID is fake? Because I've always been a believer, and it's all about respect. You don't believe it? That's fine. Just respect everyone who does, right?
I think the
How,
ones that don't think COVID is real are foolish. I'm not going to push my beliefs on anyone. And, and not to get into the political thing, how it was on the news all the time. And, the political things came into it with Donald Trump and, you know, him being so loud about it pushed the
Right.
other side away from it. Oh, it's a joke. It became this whole political thing as opposed to a healthcare issue.
Right.
But COVID is no joke. Some people get it and it doesn't affect them. And then you have some
Mhm.
people who have it like me, who it has completely altered my life. It has altered my past, my present, and my future.
Do you still have any of the symptoms from this long COVID?
Yes. I have a lot of symptoms actually. I ended up having to go on disability.
Okay.
So I get a social security disability now because I cannot be on the computer. What happens is the days that my eyes don't work with my brain, I feel like, have you ever been motion sick? Ever been on a
Yes.
boat and get
Uh,
motion sick? I
yeah, of
live in that
course.
state.
Mhm.
That's my constant state most of the time.
Do you know what vertigo is? Maybe it has
Yeah.
something to do with
It,
it, but it's the
no,
same thing.
it's not.
No.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
vertigo, but
Okay.
it's more motion sick.
Terry,
Okay.
Terry, I'd imagine it would be very similar to how our signals don't get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It sounds like a signal. It sounds like a wiring problem. It just
Mhm.
it doesn't. It's not getting there.
I can I can't drive in snow. I cannot drive in the fall when the leaves are falling because it's
Oh
just
yeah.
too much. I can't go to the movies because the lights, the colors, the sounds, it just all starts this whole process.
And I can
Driving,
imagine, like, I was gonna say driving, forget it.
I can drive on our streets because I live where there's not a lot of street lights. I mean, I
Sure.
live in Amish country.
Right.
It's But when I'm in Florida at my son's house, Florida has a lot of reflectors.
Mm.
I can't because it looks like strobe lights coming at me.
It, when you get a concussion, you have that. It's kind of the same symptoms or what you're going through. You can't see bright lights, or you can get set off and get a seizure from
Yeah,
certain lights that are blinking in your face.
I
It seems
definitely
similar
have.
to that.
I definitely get sensory overload. For
Okay.
sure, sensory overload. If I go into like Joanne Fabrics,
Mhm.
I can't go into Joanne Fabrics
Because all the
because
colors.
the colors, the patterns, the fluorescent lights,
Oof.
it's too much.
I can imagine, and you can even, Terry, I could imagine like, even if you planned your route from point A to point B, and then you forgot one tree-lined street and the sun is in the right angle, it would just smoke your brain for the rest of the day.
I'm okay in the sunlight. The thing that bothers me is fluorescent lights.
Okay. I'm talking
It's-
about the shadows, like driving down a shadow-laden street
Yeah,
where you're like,
I
oh,
haven't
wow.
had that too much. But
Woo. Nick, to me, it's when she first experiences that and learns that it's so bad and she has to get out of that environment.
Oh, forget it, dude.
It's the first time she's experiencing any of that
Yeah.
crap, you know, and she's like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do this. So it gives her PTSD, man, because even after she's going back to normal, sorry for saying that, whatever
no,
normal
I
means.
definitely have PTSD.
But after, yeah, after you're cured, whatever that means, but you know what I mean? After you're out of this situation, yeah, PTSD. I mean, there's gonna be an incident where you're gonna remember, oh,
Yes.
that color right there gave me, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I for sure have PTSD, and there are things that I will do that will stop me in my tracks,
Yeah.
or, you know, anxiety. Like when the PTSD really hits, like I have to stop and like really try to control the anxiety.
Sure. Do your grounding techniques.
Uh,
Try all the
Look at,
crap that they tell you
what
to
is it,
do.
5 things you
Yep.
can see,
4 you can see, or 5 you can see,
see,
like 3 you
hear,
can smell. Yeah,
smell.
you run the whole
Yeah.
gamut, and
You
none of
know,
it works, and you
breathe
get
in
more
for 4, hold
frustrated.
it for 4, breathe out for 4.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the whole thing. And then you know, the COVID fatigue is there all the time. And if I'm having a great day, I can do things. My doctor was nice enough to prescribe me Adderall for for days that I have to get things done.
Sure.
But then it takes me 2 days to recover. Where before I used to just be able to plow through everything. And now,
And it sounds very similar to what we deal with, Terry and I.
does it?
I can hear, sorry, man, I can hear everyone saying, oh, now you know what fatigue feels like. And but
But
I know it's different. I'm sure
yeah,
it's different.
and that's just it. Oh, well, just take a nap. Well,
Yeah.
my naps are 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then I wake up
Do
and
you
I'm
get
tired from being tired.
do you get tired? You out of the shower? That's
Yes.
a big thing for us too.
Yeah.
We
I
take
get,
a shower, you need a nap right away.
I have to take a nap before I have to rest before I get in the shower, because no one get in the shower is so tired.
Yeah.
You know, and
What
then it's like, oh, just, I'm a woman. Just get in, you do your hair, you do your makeup. It's a process. Like
Oh
it's
man,
a
I hear you.
process.
what modifications, if any, have you made to your house to help you to make sure you're safe?
I haven't had to make any because I live in a rancher.
Okay. So nothing in the tub, no grab bars, no seat, no
No,
nothing.
I don't need any of that.
Highly recommend
I just know
the seat.
the big thing for me, believe it or not, is if we go somewhere and I look at steps, if I'm standing on top of the steps and I look down, instantly I get dizzy. My daughter's always like right next to me at the steps. You all right? And I have to stand there and wait for everything to stop moving. And I have,
Wow.
if they have places, I will take a ramp,
Sure.
because just looking down, it's just,
Right now, she's going through an invisible illness, right?
Yeah.
Because she looks normal. To me, she looks normal. I
Yeah.
know.
well, normal is relative.
Wow, whatever. It's such an insult these days. You look normal.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the matter with you? Even when I had to apply for disability, they were questioning it, because I would go in and they're like, well, you look okay. Like, I know I look okay, but I'm telling you what I'm feeling. I'm not making this up. I'm not making these migraines up. I'm not choosing to throw up because I can't stop being dizzy.
Did you hire an attorney?
I had to get an
I was
attorney.
gonna say, so did I.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's also a component that I haven't mentioned yet. Is there also a component is statistically women are believed less than men are when it comes to healthcare. So you have that going against you, and then you have the COVID component, which there's bias towards that. So you were really fighting an uphill battle. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
How was your mood? How was your mood? Were you irritable? Were you this different person getting angry at
I'm-
people?
I'm completely different than I used to be. I have days where I'm just nasty, and I don't mean to be. Like I don't mean to be, and I don't realize I am until my daughter will say, "Mom, like you're being a bitch. Just stop." I'm like, "I'm not." And she's like, "Yeah, you are." Depression has been mine. Depression and anxiety, debilitating depression, because I was just so set on my future. My husband and I, we were getting ready to be empty nesters. You know, he was retired. My job, I could work remote. We had just been to Tennessee 2 months before he passed, looking at properties. So my entire future, eh, like anybody that has an illness, it just changes. I have no idea who I am. None. I'm trying to figure out who I am as a woman, as a wife, well, widow now. You know, my kids are in their 20s. They're going to be leaving soon. So now I'm like, oh crap, what's it going to look like when I'm on my own?
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, I have, you know, my disabilities. How am I going to make that work?
Yeah.
You know, it's just constant insecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
it takes a while. It takes a while. It took me, I don't even know if I know now, but I want to say it took me almost 10 years to figure out who I was going to be after it happened.
Yeah. I'm at 2.5.
Well, I don't, everybody's timeline's different. My advice is you are free to do whatever you want. You are allowed to be as selfish as you want to be.
Mm.
And you have to own that selfishness. You have
there
to.
no textbook that tells you what the right next step is. You know how, okay, it's going to take you 2 months to grieve. It's going to, no, everyone's different. We all know that, right? It could take you as long as you want. And no one should shame you
Yeah.
for whatever.
Mm-mm.
No, I haven't had that. I have lost a lot of friends, and they
That
say that
happens.
happens with widowhood.
It also happens with losing your job too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You know, you lose your identity. So,
sense of purpose,
yeah,
reason to get up every morning. Yeah, oh yeah. That's the
I
exact same stuff we struggle with.
I have definitely spent days in bed, like days. I only get up to go to the bathroom and go right back to bed.
Mm.
It's getting better as time goes on. I'm definitely better in the summertime than I am in the winter. You know, that stupid time change.
The time change and sad is real.
Mhm.
Because,
Mhm.
there's nothing that a person who suffers with major depression likes more than when it gets dark at 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Nothing really says I'm going to be okay, like darkness constantly.
And I hate to say it, but I mean, depression isn't always you're in bed all the time. Just in case people have depression and
No.
they're not in bed, it so many different forms. And like I think I still battle depression, maybe not as bad as some people, I understand, but I'm not in bed. I'm not a bed guy. My
Uh-huh.
depression is me keeping busy, just to keep my mind busy. So I never have silence. When I get off talking to someone, I start playing something on my phone.
Yeah.
It's always busy, busy, busy. But so you're in bed for days.
Days, because I just get so tired from the COVID, and then I get depressed because I'm in bed and I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And you feel like
And
I've
then it
wasted
just gets
time.
so overwhelming. And I'm like,
It goes, it
yeah,
goes.
it starts in your head. I don't know how it is for you guys, but once I'm in my head, that's the worst place for me to be.
Ah,
It is
yeah.
the worst place for me to be. And I start missing my husband. I start
Get it.
missing, you know, what I was going to do, what I want to do that I can't do. You know, my future plans are gone.
Mm-hmm. But yes, that's kind of, if I sit and think about the MS, then I get exactly there. So it helps me to do this. It helps me to do the support groups. It helps me to just talk to people like you and I met.
Yeah.
I love, if I'm not talking to somebody, I start talking to myself about myself. And I don't like to do that too often because then I do the same thing. how are my kids going to be? How am I going to be? I'm getting older. Things are getting, I mean, clearly I'm only in my early 40s, but I start thinking, what's 20 years going to look like? What's 30 years going to look like? What's the next attack going to do? What's the next thing? And
Mhm.
just like with you, it honestly, it never really dawned on me that long COVID meant forever.
Well, that's the thing. They don't know.
Right.
And,
I
that's what I keep coming back to. I'm asking,
Mhm.
well, how long am I going to be this way? Well, we don't know. We don't know if you suffered a hypoxic brain injury or it's long COVID. So there's so many variables of they don't know that I find so annoying.
So you get the
Yeah.
same answer. Terry, she gets the same answers we do. When you ask them a question, they say, maybe, could be,
Could be.
possibly,
Mhm.
Did
probably,
it did her COVID turn into a neurological issue?
because of the hypoxia, probably.
Yeah. Well, they
So
don't know
that's
if it's
probably why.
hypoxia. They don't know if it's a hypoxic brain injury or it's long COVID. And they can't tell because they don't know enough about long COVID.
Of course.
Holy
So
smokes.
could be, might be, possibly, probably, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Terry?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. Like I 100% I've always respected COVID. We went through different phases, like in the beginning it was so careful. I became the make sure you wear your mask and glove Nazi to everybody. Like when I was outside, I'm like, yo, your nose is still out. I was that guy. And then I settled down and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm the crazy one. But I've heard many stories, not personal stories, like, but I've heard stories and I'm like, guys, this is serious. So,
I am the first person I knew of that it affected neurologically. I didn't even know. I thought it was completely respiratory in the beginning, and I did not know that.
Wow.
It has attacked people's bowels. It has attacked their lungs, their heart, you know, eyes,
yeah.
brain. It can attack anywhere in your body.
Yeah. See,
Anyone else in your family got affected?
My husband
No,
died.
no, no. I know, I know. Guys,
Well,
guys, come on.
yeah,
Sorry.
it's a killer.
Now everyone's like, Terry, you're an idiot. No, I mean, like anyone else. Your daughter's right there.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Well, apparently my daughter had COVID when I was in the hospital and I didn't know it. So I'm texting her completely out of it saying, make sure the house is clean. Did you mop the floor? Make sure you change the linens on the bed. Having no idea she was just as sick as I was.
did she mop the linens?
I have no
No.
idea. You have to ask her.
So,
I do like sweep the driveway. But I did.
Yeah, we
so
all had it.
your husband passed while you were in the middle of the 9 days of sleeping in the hospital.
No, I got it out of the hospital.
Okay.
Um, and then I think it was a week or two. Uh, he was put on a vent when I was in ICU. And when I got out, I was able to visit him because I had just had COVID. So apparently you have that 3-month window.
Yeah.
So I was able to go in and they would say, oh, he's progressing just like you did. And I was like, oh, great. Well, here I am. And I went and I talked to my kids. I'm like, listen, they said, dad's progressing how I am. You know, it may take him a while longer because he had other underlying health issues. And I said, even if he has to go, into a rehab, whatever, it doesn't matter if we have to sell the house. I don't care,
Sure. Yeah.
whatever it takes. And he was doing great. And he said, yep, looking good, looking good, looking good. Until one day they said, yeah, he took a turn. And what happened was scar tissue was developing in his lungs and his lungs lost the ability to expand and contract. So
Okay.
what is on my discharge paper, word for word, is what is on his death certificate.
Wow.
Word for word.
Whoa. Whoa.
I have no words for you. How did I, I'm gonna ask silly questions
Yeah, no, go ahead.
how did everyone take it? How was everyone in your family? They all believed in COVID, obviously, because you guys had it. you know, because I know this world is maniac right now, where you just have so many people with different opinions, and this is so real right now, you know.
Yeah. And our immediate family with my husband, our 3 kids, we knew COVID was real. My husband, my son is medical professional also, so he knew. So we knew that it was real.
Yeah. Me,
I
in
mean,
my head, I'm all about like going in the streets and just getting really mad at people who are, you know, fools, like Nick said earlier.
uh, you know,
That
here's the thing. People are going to believe what they want to believe, and they're going to do what they want to do. At this point of my life, I can't get mad at people for being fools. It's real. Am I one of those people who are overly cautious? No, I'm still going to live my life. And as bad as I had it and my husband passing, I'm still not one of those, oh, I have to isolate myself. I can't live that way. That's not who I am. Wash my hands? Absolutely. What, cold and flu season, wearing a mask? Sure. I'm not foolish, but I'm not going to be mad at, if you want to be an idiot, just go be an idiot, dude.
Yeah.
Live your life. You do you.
Now, did they say anything about, did they even know if you have a contagion quality to you from having it in the brain? Did they say you're contagious, you're not contagious? They have no clue.
No clue.
Ugh,
well,
that's even worse.
No clue.
Because not only do you have to live with all of the I don't knows that you currently have, but you have to tack onto that. Am I going to carry this that I could give to somebody for the rest of? Oh my
I mean,
God.
I have gotten to the point where I don't feel good and I take COVID tests and I'm testing negative.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So,
But still, that's like Terry said, that's the PTSD worry. You're like, I felt this before. I know where this road leads.
I will tell you, since then, I was always an herbalist to begin with. I highly believe in taking antivirals. You know,
Do you do the tea in the morning? Do you like, I'm going to get my,
I have my teas. I make my oregano
Okay.
tinctures. Like oregano is a big one. Like
apple cider vinegar? Big on that one.
some apple cider. What's that? Elderberry.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're hitting the big ones.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do all my herbs, my teas, my salves. I was
Yeah.
pulling up my dandelion roots yesterday.
Have you been doing this before,
So,
or is this a new
yeah.
routine, or
So
have you been?
I proactively take antivirals. I did it before a little bit.
Okay.
Now I'm committed to it.
It's a lifestyle change.
Yes, it has been an absolute lifestyle change for me. Not that I'm against big pharma. Hey, if you need medicine, take medicine. But if I can take my antiviral, I'm going to be,
Yep.
prior to me getting the flu.
I always say that big pharma takes care of the symptoms, and anything homeopathic takes care of the rest of me.
Exactly.
So you can use them both,
Yes.
and you should.
Yeah.
For your best outcome.
Definitely not saying if you need an antibiotic, take that antibiotic.
Right.
The whooping cough is coming back. That's a big thing in the news now.
Cannot believe
Get that vaccine.
Yeah.
But, I'll be taking my mullein to keep my lungs healthy.
Sure.
I'm not against Western medication as well, but
Yeah.
I say the same thing to everyone. If you need to take it, take it.
If you need it, take it. Fortunately, I have a lot of Amish friends, and I have learned through them, there's something to it, they don't go to the doctor.
Not very often.
You
I
know,
was
so-
shocked. I was down at Chop one time years ago, and I saw an Amish family there, and I was like, I didn't think you guys did this.
Yeah. Oh, they do if they need to, but some of them are in their 40s and have never taken an antibiotic ever
Wow.
in their life.
Can you imagine?
No.
Even our food takes antibiotics.
Mm-hmm. So, and through
Oh my
them,
God, you're
I
right.
really have learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, knock on wood, since I had COVID, I really haven't been sick.
Well,
Knock
you
on
started a
wood.
whole new routine.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
You're very focused on yourself.
I mean, obviously, I'm not clean living as I sit here with my 32-ounce Coke,
Well,
Yeah.
but
you still got to live, like you said.
Mhm.
You know, you can't deny yourself everything.
yeah. But
So
this
when you
long
go,
COVID is no joke.
oh my God,
What's
for
that?
sure. I am not taking it as a joke. I'm not even like, I totally respect COVID like to the max. What drink do you get from Wawa's? Since I see you sipping that on camera.
It's a it's a Coke product endorsement. I'm a Coke girl. No, I feel very, I don't want to say I feel sorry for, I understand people with long COVID and how frustrating and lonely. And I just think it's something that's not really talked about. Like, I think a lot of it is poo-pooed and you're dismissed and, oh, it could be this, it might be that. You know, I think there's a whole lot of us out there that aren't talking about it for sure. You know, MS has this whole, you know, you guys are a support group and, you know, long COVID, you don't hear that.
Sure.
There's so many different types of long COVID.
Like I could tell you, Terry and I are ambassadors for the MS societies, and we host support groups, and we talk to newly diagnosed people, and on and on and on. But maybe there's something to that.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for people to reach out and say, hey, this is what I have, like to talk to people about it. You know, hey, yes, hey, have you tried that?
I mean, we can always put your email down and people, if they're interested, they can contact you. I mean,
I'll start a new email. I don't want to flood my, I'll start a new one. So if people want to reach out, I'm
With-
happy to.
With an auto response that says 3 to 5 business days. If I feel like I can, I'll get back to you. You got to give the caveat.
I will say the one thing that I did lose with COVID, I cannot be on a computer.
Wow.
I have not
Okay.
been on a computer in 2.5 years. That blinking cursor
Oh
with
yeah.
the light behind it,
Oh yeah. Sure.
instantly.
Is this
I instantly
is this
get
okay?
nauseous.
You good
No,
here?
this is fine.
Okay. I didn't even think of that. Jeez.
Yeah,
See
no,
how
if
easy
this
that
had,
happens?
if this had words with the cursor following it and the letters popping
Yeah,
up while you
sure.
type, absolutely not.
So I guess sports are out
Yeah.
too, right? You can't follow the puck or
I
the ball?
can't do anything like that fast, but I do
No.
love the Eagles. Go
I
Birds.
see her looking
Birds.
at this. I see her looking at the
Go
screen and then
Birds.
looking away. Like I see, go birds.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
You
Go
don't-
Birds. What? What? You're crushing me. #1 Eagles fan here.
Oh, is that what you guys say? Go birds?
Go Birds. Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm sorry, I'm Canadian. I didn't know
Oh
that.
my
I know
gosh.
Philadelphia Eagles. I didn't know they say birds. Go birds. But
That's how
isn't
they
it
greet
go
each other.
Eagles?
No,
They're
No.
golly.
Okay, all right, all right.
Golly.
I'm a rabid Eagles fan
I'm
now. Come on.
sorry.
Ooh.
I apologize. What about your
No.
daughter? She had COVID. Did she have anything after, or hers is the easy COVID? Sorry, not to
just
say that.
What was it that you ended up getting? What treatment did you have where you had
The
to?
monoclonal antibody.
Oh, she ended up having to, she was able to get the monoclonal antibodies because my husband and I were in the hospital at the same time. So as soon as she got displayed any symptoms, they automatically
Sure.
treated her with
Oh,
the
yeah.
monoclonal antibodies and they worked for her.
Good.
I think, did you test positive after that also? You know what? I did get COVID again. I got it when I was in Florida.
Yeah.
So I had COVID again,
Were you scared the second time you got it,
petrified,
or the third, fourth? We don't even know if we had it before,
Pe-
but you know what I mean.
petrified,
Okay, okay.
petrified.
Wow.
But I'm not afraid of dying. I've seen the light.
It's people who don't believe in it, but it's also the way nurses talk to us, not nurses, like healthcare professions. Because when my partner got COVID, she's so respectful. She didn't want to leave the house. She didn't want to be near me. She called the doctor's office to say, hey, I got COVID. What do I do?
Mhm.
And they're like, when did you get it? And they, she gave the information, and whoever she was talking to said, you're fine. And she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want to infect people because we're big, big respectful, like in that case. And they said, no, you're fine. You would have been symptomatic a few days ago. Now you're fine.
That is the one thing I really am very, very, very resentful of. Oh, when it started to change, oh, you're not symptomatic. You can still go to work, or, oh, I just have a cold. No, you don't. And even if you do, there are other people out there,
Hmm.
you know. Ugh,
You're
Yep,
talking to
I know.
two, you're talking to directly to
I know.
two
ugh.
immunocompromised individuals who live it every day.
Yes.
Now we're very specifically immunocompromised, very specifically, but it's there. So
Any kind of immunocompromise, you don't know if somebody's going to chemo treatments, like anything. Just if you're sick, stay home.
yeah.
Put a mask on.
Yeah, and I was really hoping that there would be a work culture shift that has not occurred where people could just say, like in other countries, especially in Europe, if you're sick, there's no sick days. If you're sick, stay home. There's no, you have 3 sick days. Oh, we're not paying you. Oh, you went, in my case, it was if I wanted to go back to work, I needed to go a full calendar year without a sick day, or they would separate me and I would lose my pension.
Uh-huh.
So I had to go on retirement.
Yeah.
In other countries, they would be like, take all the time you need.
Mm-hmm.
Come back when you're feeling better. I don't get it.
How is it in Canada? How was it in Canada?
It's the same things. Like we have, well, you have sick days. Well, it depends on where you work, of course, but you have sick days and you also have vacation days. And a lot of people here have to take vacation days for their sick days. It's just, it's like a trust system. But
Yeah.
again, it depends on where you work and stuff like that. I'm going to where Katrina works at her insurance company that,
Yeah.
but you're sick, you're sick. You need to stay home because it's not even about that. It's like that 6 degrees of separation. The whole world's connected because you're going to talk to this person. This person has kids. The kids have that friend's parents. You know what I mean? It's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be the law to stay home if you're sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Whatever. You make fun, but it's the truth. Like,
no, I'm laughing because Terry, I'm on your side. I think there, I think I was hoping we would get to a point where employers would just say, if you're not feeling well, just don't work.
Especially in today's society when most things can be done on the computer. Like,
Yeah.
unless you have direct, I want to say something in medical where you're
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. Unless you have a profession. Sure.
If you're a teacher, stay home. You don't want to infect, your 27 students who are going to go home and infect their parents and their brothers and their sisters who are going
Yeah.
to.
It's like that.
that blows my mind. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
For the first time, Terry, for the first time, the school district that we live in, it snowed and they didn't have a snow day. They converted it to a virtual day and the kids were pissed.
Yeah, they're starting to do that. I mean,
They
negatives and
converted to
positives.
a virtual day. That's amazing because of
Yeah.
COVID, it switched.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no
We
more
love
snow
COVID
days.
because we got to meet people. I'm so sorry. That sounded so
Oh,
wrong.
no, no, no. It's
So
listen,
sorry.
the one thing I have maintained is my sense of humor. As off kilter as it is, I have not lost my ability to laugh at
Okay.
death and myself.
Okay. You know,
I'm not
remember
offended.
you couldn't go to a restaurant. You know me. I have no. You don't know me, but I'm not. Sometimes I say stupid things that come out of my mouth, and then I immediately know and I
Oh,
retract as soon as I
We'll
can.
fit
But
right together.
restaurants, how you couldn't go to a restaurant unless you proved that you had a shot. Did you have that in the States? We had that in Canada. Well, in my town, you couldn't go to a restaurant unless you proved that you had your
Oh,
first two.
you had the card.
And I was happy about that. I really was. Not because I was like, oh, now you guys are monitoring us, but now everybody is going to be safe if they're going to the restaurant. And that fell down so fast.
I will say, I will put it right out there. I was not vaccinated. We were not vaccinated.
Whatever, to each
you
their
know,
own, right?
yeah,
Just
I-
respect.
Yeah. I still wouldn't have changed my decision. Whether I know what happened or not, it was a choice we made.
I'm going to say this publicly. I wouldn't have gone either, but I had loved ones that were asking me, please. And I did for them.
Yeah.
And if they're listening to this, yes, I did it for you. But I'm glad I did it. Whatever. It doesn't, I didn't grow an extra nose on my face, even though this one's big enough.
I
Anyway.
got I got vaccinated vaccine. It was the one shot.
Mm.
It was the I don't even know who that was from. It was the Johnson and Johnson, I think.
Oh.
The one shot that everyone was
cares,
like,
man?
that doesn't
And then-
count. I'm like,
And then
"Not for
we're
me."
shaming that. We're
No, I'm
shaming the
not.
type of vaccine.
No, no, no. We're not. That's not devolving into
Is-
this.
Do they still have vaccines for COVID?
I think so.
Yeah, here's the thing. For me, the COVID vaccine, and I know there are going to be people out there who are going to disagree with me. It's my opinion. COVID is like the flu. There's always going to be a variant. I don't get the flu shot.
I've never gotten the flu shot
I'm
yet.
not going to get a COVID shot every single season
Right.
because it's always going to change. And I don't know the chemicals that are in it.
Yeah,
No.
we talk a lot about that too.
That's what you want to do. You do you. I'm just speaking for me.
Well,
I'll
I,
take my herbs.
I, I'm on your page. I really am. And I'm not that guy. It's like, take it. Okay. I guess I was. But yeah, I'm on your side with I try not to take medication. But again, I just say what you say. If you need to take it, take it. I'm not against it,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not like
but I
I
try
take
not to.
I take my medicine for my, depression and my anxiety. My doctor prescribes it. Better living through chemicals.
Yeah.
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 What about cannabis? Are you on that? How do you feel about that?
I actually did it for
That's
the
a-
first time after my husband died.
That's a nerve.
I-
How'd that go?
I like the edibles better than I like smoking.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. That makes a lot of
That's
sense.
what-
Yeah, I tried it for the first time. I forget why. I was just really depressed.
'cause you were like, yeah, you were.
oh yeah, we were going through my husband's clothes
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
that'll do it. That's triggers all day.
And-
Oh my god.
I'm in the bedroom and I'm just surrounded by his stuff, and I just got so overwhelmed with life.
Sure. Sure.
And I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. I don't care. I don't care. So yeah, I'm not opposed to it. If somebody wants to do it, I don't do it often.
Sure.
I think
how was your first experience? Because I hear of different people's first experiences. Sometimes they're wacky.
Are you sending
Was it
better text
wacky?
messages?
my daughter's
Was it-
sitting here laughing.
Maybe we should be interviewing her. I'm just joking. No, no, no. I'm just joking. So what happened? Your first experience?
I get silly. I get very silly. I might have taken too much my first time. I may or may not have wet my pants. I was standing in the shower just feeling like, oh my God, this must be what it feels like when you're on crack, and I'm swaying. And I don't know if I'm swaying because I'm high or, my COVID.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Yeah.
You're just out of it.
I slept really well.
Good. That's good. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
That's a good first experience.
I'm
Yeah,
I won't lie to you.
seriously.
I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, it's funny because I know people that they're against marijuana, which is whatever, to each their own.
Mhm.
They're against it, and I'm like, oh, it's okay. But they're like, yeah, but I do edibles.
Yeah.
I'm like, that
It's the
that
same
is made
thing.
from marijuana, and
Yeah.
they're like, no, 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 I don't. Whatever.
Now, I don't like smoking,
No, that's sure. I get
but
that.
I'm not opposed to it.
Terry, we
whatever.
got to get her on some Rick Simpson oil in her tea every morning. She'll be golden.
My thing is,
Definitely.
a lot of it is the PTSD.
Sure.
For sure, I have it. I feel like I need to be prepared because I don't know what's next.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's next. And it's bad when my kids are out of the house and the fire whistles go off.
Mm.
Like right away, I call them. Are you okay? Where are you? What are you doing? It's that.
It's the hypervigilance that comes with the
'Cause you-
PTSD. I get it.
You touched death, so to you it's real.
Oh,
To me, I'm like invincible. Not that I'm invincible, but yeah, I'm not gonna die, or that's so far fetched. But you were there.
yeah.
So I think your life is just different now. And the chemicals that was also released in your body, remember how you said you tripped out or whatever? You never know what the chemicals inside your body has changed now.
Yeah. And I think with my husband dying, I just have a need to know everyone is safe.
Sure.
Like it's, like you said, hyper vigilant, like
That's what it is. I have it.
almost to the point of irrational at times.
I can't sleep unless I've checked every window and every car on my property so that if it rains overnight, my cars will get wet. So
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
I have my daughter, like, I track her. She's,
Life 360 or
she's out,
Find
she's
My
in
iPhone.
Westchester.
Yep.
I'm like, you okay? What are you doing? And I'll check my phone. Oh, okay, she's here.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Do you need me to drive you? Just call me. Super, super hyper vigilant.
Yep. Yep. And that fades a little bit over time, but not always. And not all the time. Not
It's
all.
it's for me, it's getting worse. That part is getting worse.
Also very real.
And I know, my doctor said, "Oh, you need therapy." Well, I don't have insurance because I lost my job and I can't afford affordable health care.
That's why we did this. That's why
So,
we started our show
yeah.
for free talk therapy.
Basically, yeah. What are you talking? Not funny. True.
I would love to talk to people that have it.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah. If I can help them or they can help me, or what did she say?
She said, I'm going to help you start your own show. That's what she said.
We'd be right there to support you. You know, I've always wanted to talk to someone who's dealt with a bad case firsthand. Not like I've seen it, I've heard, but I want people to hear this.
Well, what are your questions? Hit me with them. I'm not offended.
Do
Ask it.
you have many of the tests in your home right now? Like the what is it called?
The
The
at-home
fast.
test? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I stockpiled them.
Okay. You get them for free, right? Or do you have to buy them?
We got them for free. And then
Okay.
my mom passed not that
Yeah.
long ago. So all the ones I was getting for her, I now have in my closet. So if
Okay.
my kid,
Hold on. Do you have more people that passed from COVID around you?
no, just me and my husband.
Oh,
My
okay.
mom just,
Okay.
she had COPD
Okay.
completely.
Okay.
But everything that was in her house, I think we
Yeah.
could get 2 a month.
Yeah.
The government was giving us 2 a month.
Yep.
So for all those months, she had them. So now they're all in my closet. So as soon as my kids get the sniffles, I'm like, take a COVID test. Stay in your
Yeah.
room. It's okay.
Yeah.
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 What's your worst symptom right now that you're dealing with? Is it just moving fast?
It depends
People
on the
wouldn't
day.
understand.
I
Like
get
you get
I get really bad headaches. I get migraines for sure. So it's a combination of either the migraines that I get or it really depends on the day. Like
Mhm.
yesterday I was working in my garden, something that 2 years ago I would have done in 2 hours. It literally took me 6 hours. And bending down and standing up and bending down and standing up. I would bend down, I'd stand up, and I'd have to stop for a minute because I would get dizzy because of that up and down
Yeah.
movement. And your brain processes things so fast. I'm standing up, but my brain is like still 3 seconds behind.
Yeah.
So
Holy
my
smokes.
brain has to catch up to my body. So the tired, the headaches.
Yeah.
I can't say there's one thing that's
Yeah.
seems the only thing I didn't get was the cough. I got everything else.
It's when you get off this call with us,
Mhm.
you're gonna be like, damn, I forgot to tell him about this.
Probably.
But it's probably something that you're so used to now. You just don't even mention it. You just mention the headaches that are debilitating,
Yeah.
But
Just, I would say the lack of who I used to be is my big one.
that's why I asked you, are you frustrated now? Is your mood different? Are you an
I'm
angry person? Which is normal. It's
no,
supposed to be.
no, I would say I'm not. I definitely have my moments where I'm just really frustrated and bitchy and resentful, but I'm not angry. Like for our family, we just have such a skewed sense of humor. Like humor seems to get us through everything, as offensive as it may be to others.
I am the same
I mean,
way.
even at my husband's viewing, we found ways to laugh inappropriately, but it got us through it. And that's how we deal with it.
I get you.
I can choose to be angry or I can choose to not be. I get caught up in those moments where I am, but I try not to be. More resentful of my future.
Because you got robbed. Sure.
I was robbed of my future.
Yeah. it's totally understandable. Terry and I absolutely get that.
Yeah. Like robbed of my future,
Yeah.
of everything my husband and I had planned out together,
Mhm.
Empty nester, moving, traveling together, more grandkids, you know,
And it's surreal that you're sitting here and yet just like most, if not all, of the MSers that we've talked to, you have to mourn two lives lost. You have to mourn your own life, and you're still alive. And
mhm.
that's so not, it doesn't compute. It doesn't make any sense to you, but you have to look back and go, crap, I gotta, I gotta grieve.
I, my doctor talked to me about this. I had an appointment that long ago. I haven't done that yet.
I know. And you'll get there when you get there.
You know, I get very, yeah, this is going to make me upset.
I'm sorry.
Nope, that's okay. Like, I hate my birthday now because I'm getting old without my husband. He's always going to be 55. I'm going to be 58. Like, I hate my birthdays because I feel like I'm just leaving him in the past.
Guilt.
Oof.
Oh, survivor's guilt for sure.
That is a thing.
We went to
That's
dinner for my son's birthday and we were just having a great time. Like, we just had we were laughing. And I just sat there at one point and I was looking at everybody and we were having a great time. But I was just thinking to myself, you would really be proud of your son. Like, you would really like to be here at this dinner because he liked to laugh too, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like my life has changed and I really resent it.
Yeah.
Not, I don't resent my life, but
No, I get it. You resent that it has changed, and you resent that you had no control over that change. You resent that you resent all the things that we've just been talking about,
yeah,
and except for the positives of the family still, but everything else just sucks and is unfair and shouldn't have happened, and it did, and no one could help, and
I think I'm more mad that my husband's not here than I am about all of my symptoms.
sure.
That for me is the hardest.
yeah.
And then everybody, I have oh, well, maybe you'll meet somebody. Well,
And
and then I think, okay, first of all, I'm not 20 anymore. And who wants like a sick middle-aged woman?
well,
I'm gonna meet some guy and I'm gonna be, oh, I get headaches, I get nauseous, I get dizzy, I'm on disability. Aren't I the prize?
hang out in the disability community, and you'll find there's lots of people just like you.
Yeah. I'm not going to give you that whole spiel of,
No, but
you know,
it's very easy to think that way because we all think that way. Um, but you haven't even meet somebody. You haven't even met yourself yet.
No.
So you got to start there, my opinion.
Yeah.
Once you meet yourself, it starts
you
to
know,
go up.
we know grieving is a process, right? We know from textbook, step 1, step 2, step 3 is this, step 4, right? I don't think there's anything written for what you're going through right now. I don't think they're like, oh, this is what you're going through. Step 1 is this. I don't think so, because you went through something severe. You had a death in the family. Like, I don't think they write stuff about you, like what to do
Yeah, I
next.
think I'm anomaly
I
because
think it's like, good luck.
pretty much because I'm trying to grieve the death, my life, my future, all the COVID symptoms. It's all sort of wrapped up in one.
Mhm.
And feeling guilty with your kids because maybe you feel guilty that, I don't know.
Oh,
There's
for
many
sure.
things that go through your mind for sure.
Yeah. But hey, COVID people, hit me up.
I love it.
Trish, I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for coming and sharing that story with us
Thanks for
today.
having me. I'm sorry if
Thank
it
you.
sounded so jumbled. It's just so
No,
much.
No,
we all if you've not listened to the show, most of our shows are jumbled. It's
Okay.
okay. It's quite okay. But seriously, thank you for being so open and honest about all this stuff today because none of us have ever heard it before because we only hear what we see on the
Oh,
TV or whatever.
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really,
Thanks for
too
having
much
me.
respect for you for sharing your story.
It was nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you too.
all right, brother. Well, that wraps it this time. So I will talk to you soon.
Awesome. We'll talk soon. So check us out at 40belowzero.com. That's 4 letter T below zero.com. Or feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is info@40belowzero.com. Our personal Instagram account are, for Nix, it's Nix_V713. Or for Terry, it's What's_MS. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. We'll talk soon.